Okay, what about the founder who just cannot seem to get along with everybody and the culture becomes chaotic? They are too abrasive. They chew people out. They are basically, I don't want to use the word toxic because it's a little too woke for you. I don't want to trigger you with any
It's
woke
definitely
words.
too woke for me.
It's way too woke for Keith, but I mean, maybe I'll just ask the question, can anybody be too hardcore in business? Maybe you don't buy into it. But just somebody who's creating a bit of like interpersonal chaos. Sometimes you have founders who create a little chaos. They're constantly fighting with individuals. Is this, how do you get them focused on not self-sabotaging, maybe, is a way to frame it?
Well, I think the founder personality like that can actually be very successful because the people who opt into working with them kind of know what they're getting. And so I don't think that's a really good personality trait for an executive who's kind of joining a company. It can be really painful. But for a founder, people choose who they work with, and it's one of the benefits of joining a startup. And so I think you can be successful with that kind of DNA because everybody's opting in to your cult. However, the one piece of feedback I would give somebody who is of that ilk, and actually work with founders I've worked with founders like that for 23 years. I've worked for founders like that. I've worked with founders, I've funded founders, I'm on the board of founders like that. The one piece of feedback is you want to ensure that the friction you're causing is not collateral damage, but it's intentional. And sometimes those two things get mixed. So one of the founders I work with once asked Mike Moritz, who I consider to be an amazing investor, what's the most important trait for a successful founder in his entire career? And he said, they relentlessly apply force. So that's very similar to being quote unquote toxic in the woke world. Relentless application of force. People do not like, but that's what makes founders unreasonably successful. However, you want to make sure that you're applying force intentionally on the things that matter the most, not on things that don't matter that much. So causing collateral damage is not a good idea. So you can help isolate, like, how important is this? And are you causing friction because it's critical to the company? Or are you causing friction that isn't even something that important? And then you're just going to distract people from focusing. So being conscious about when you're causing the friction does work. You can't talk somebody out of who's a highly energetic, highly opinionated, disruptive person, who, by the way, is almost always the best founders are disruptive. You can't talk them out of that personality trait, but you can channel it to make sure you're using that skill very wisely and very carefully.